But there's another inflammatory factor that doesn't get talked about anywhere near enough. And it is this. Number 5, air pollution. Our super highly urbanized populations are breathing it in and out all day long. Air pollution is the cigarette that never gets stubbed out. Now, if that sounds a bit too dramatic, well, check this out. Air pollution is the world's 4th leading risk factor for premature death. 9 million people die annually as a direct result of inhaling the air where they live. Now, conservatively, that's on par with tobacco deaths. 9 million deaths. Now, that's a shocking amount. How does this kind of pollution inflame us? Well, it's the particulate matter in the air that generates an inflammatory response in our bodies. The emerging research presented by the authors is grim. If you guessed that air pollution is bad news for the lungs, well, of course you'd be right. It's implicated in all kinds of respiratory diseases like asthma and emphysema. It makes us more susceptible to respiratory infections such as pneumonia, bronchitis, and tuberculosis, and you can add lung cancer to that list. But the real damage list is much longer than that. To begin with, the fine particulate pollution like soot, sulfate, nitrate particles, etc. generally destabilize the human immune response, making us more vulnerable to infectious diseases. Air pollution accelerates the death of the endothelial cells that line our blood vessels, which leads straight to heart disease. With all their air pollution, cities have 40% more depression, 20% more anxiety, double the rate of schizophrenia compared to rural spaces. Even prenatal exposure to air pollution has been associated with the rise of autism in children. And if you hadn't guessed it already, the main source of air pollution is fossil fuel. That overstaying anachronism. Our love affair with the internal combustion engine is literally wiping us out. Back in pandemic times, fossil fuel pollution was a chief villain. And the authors of Inflamed say this: an increase of only 1 microgram of particulate matter per cubic meter of air was associated with an 8% increase in the COVID death rate. And then they say, and this is a quote again, COVID settles disproportionately into the lungs of those who have been exposed to air pollution, which explains why the COVID pandemic spread most rapidly in cities where high pollution levels prevailed. Now, the same was true, by the way, during the 1918 Spanish flu. Cities that burned more coal had tens of thousands more deaths. Now, the more inflamed we are, the more defenseless we are when a virus comes our way. And so, among other vital measures, we might like to get a wriggle on with our full transition to renewables before the next pandemic strikes.